In today's video, we'll set our bullet journals for the first month of 2023, but with a twist. Hey guys, welcome back to Art and Alchemy. Check out other videos on my channel and subscribe for more bullet journal content. Now let's quickly get started with the video. I wanted to do things differently this time around and challenge myself with different bullet journal themes this year. I came up with the idea to pick a theme for each month at random. I'm basically letting these guys decide the theme and the painting medium for me each month. I shortlisted 15 of my favorite themes and wrote them down on these chits. Let's fold them up quickly and get to some action. Hoping that my bullet journal is in good hands, in this case jars, let's move forward to see what I pick for January. In the first jar, we have all the themes for 2023, and on the right, we have our painting mediums. We'll first pick the theme. I'm both nervous and excited for this, but let's see what we have here. I picked tulips for this month's theme, guys. That was very unexpected. Let's quickly pick the medium. And we have watercolors. Now that the theme is decided, let's get to planning. Here's a quick montage of the entire planning stage. I spent some time browsing Pinterest for my tulip preferences, followed by planning the spread layouts using these thumbnail sketches. I then decide the color palette and we're all set to start. By the way, I recently posted my New Year bullet journal setup, and if you haven't watched that yet, I'll leave the link to it in the description box below. The setup is super functional and aesthetic at the same time, so check it out in case you missed it. I'd also like to thank you all for your amazing response to the 2023 planning video. Your support always means the world to me. I'm laying my color palette down on the left side of the cover page. I picked 4 shades of pink and 2 shades of green for the tulips. All the supplies I used in this video will be linked in the description box below. Check that out if you're curious. I'm now working on my cover illustration for January, which is of a girl holding a bouquet of tulips. I usually sketch everything out ahead of time. The entire planning stage, including sketching the layouts out, took me around 3.5 hours. I'll be very honest with you guys, what takes me the longest is to decide on a theme for the month. Now, with this new challenge, the theme is taken care of, so I get to save a lot of time and energy that goes into deciding the theme each month. Also, I never really thought I'd be using painting mediums in my journal. I actually really love using Tombow brush pens as a painting medium because it's quick and hassle-free, but somehow they did not look their best on this journal paper, so I'm putting them aside for now. This actually gave me an opportunity to try something new, and I'm super excited to try watercolors in my journal. As you can see, I kept the style of the painting very loose and illustrative. I'm going to use the same 2 font styles I used for my 2023 bullet journal setup. A lot of you seem to like the Serif font from my previous video. The font I referred to is called MOGAN, which is designed by Tobias Saul. I'll leave a link down below to the pin I referenced for the font. I'm now writing the title January in this delicate cursor font. I love this font combo, one bold and the other delicate. Moving on, we have the calendar spread. This is where you mark all your important events, appointments, birthdays, deadlines, etc. The first thing I did here was mask the areas I don't want paints on. I slowly started painting the illustration, which covers a huge part of the spread. Talking about the painting process, it's important to work in layers with watercolors and from light values to dark. I lay the first few layers using a big brush and eventually switch to the finer round brushes for adding details. I added a lot of splatters and ultimately made my inner child super happy. While I finish up the illustration here, I quickly wanted to talk about the tulips theme. Since I picked the theme randomly, I have zero control on whether the theme will match my mood or represent a specific season, right? But I'm very happy that I picked tulips as my theme for the first month of this year because when I looked up about them, I figured that they have a profound meaning. I specifically chose to paint them in pink because pink tulips symbolize happiness, confidence, care, and affection. Flowers always make me happy, and this turned out to be the perfect one for January. Coming back to the spread, as you can tell, I messed up the bottom part of the illustration and tried covering it up with some splatters. It looks bad now, but it'll eventually get better with the spread all done. It's now time to peel the tape off. I'm now adding the title January with a fine round brush. I added a quote at the bottom that says, "You don't need to have it all figured out to move forward, just take the next step." I'm using my Muji Gel Pen to write the numbers. That finishes the calendar spread. I love the negative space I left here for notes. Next up, we have our monthly planning spread. Wait until I finish this spread because this turned out to be my favorite of all. New Year is the best time if you're planning to start bullet journaling. If you are trying this for the first time ever, the key is to keep the setup super simple so you can focus your energy on understanding how the system works. 2023 is my 5th year into bullet journaling, so I've experimented and learned a lot, and I've come to a point where I can strike a balance between functionality and aesthetics of the setup. I encourage you to try different spreads, layouts, but constantly keep assessing them and only stick to what works the best for you. Coming back to the spread, this is the most important segment of my monthly setup, as this is where I get an outline of all my goals and tasks and can work on my action plan. Here, I'm adding the titles in the same bold serif font. On the left, we have task dump page, where I brain dump all the tasks that come to my mind, whether big or small, and carry over relevant open tasks from the previous month. It's super important to have a brain dump page like this. Make sure to leave a lot of room for this because you definitely don't want to run out of space when you still have a lot of stuff on your mind. Here, I made columns indicating my important and urgent tasks on the left and week numbers on the right. Here's a mock task dump page to give you guys an idea of how it will look like once filled in. I start by writing all the tasks in the center. Next, I assess each task and mark whether it's important or urgent. I then assign all the urgent tasks for the first week of the month so I can make space for the important tasks in the upcoming weeks. Next, I write my top 3 goals for the month followed by their weekly breakdown. Now, setting specific goals is not as easy as it seems, and it's impractical to write down your top 3 goals directly. Here's what I did to make goal setting easy and realistic. I started with a mental inventory which comprises of 3 columns where you write what you're presently working on, what you should be working on, and what you want to be working on. This gives you a perspective of what matters the most to you. I then made a mind map of my big goals for 2023 and separated them into specific areas of life. I wrote down all my goals under each section. Then I further broke each area down into more categories while prioritizing the goals that matter the most to me this year. By this time, you'd get an idea of what actions or steps you need to take to get there. This may look too extensive, but I urge you to spend time on it so that all the goals you set are realistic and aligned to your ideal self. Now, setting top 3 goals for the month will not seem as hard as it did before, as these are just broken down chunks of your big goals. The next spread is for our trackers. I'm tracking habits on the left and sleep on the right. I quickly finished up the illustration. I added a strip of pink color on the right to balance the spread out. The mind mapping exercise done previously will give you a clarity of all the habits you can incorporate in your day-to-day life that will help you achieve your desired goals. I'm using a vertical habit tracker here. I write the first letter of each habit I want to track on top. On the left, I wrote out the dates and days of the month. I created a legend for the habits on the left bottom. On the right, I'm tracking my sleep. I wrote the days on the left and the hours from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. on top. I also added 2 vertical lines that indicate my ideal sleeping and waking pattern. Next, we have the final spread for this month's setup, which is the weekly spread. I wrote week 1 on the extreme left, and that space is for my weekly task dump. I left spaces for 2 daily entries per page. I will eventually make a Dutch door on the right, but for now I'm making a section for my weekly priorities and tasks. Then I bring in this bold 0.7 gel pen from Pentel to write the days of the week. Let's now cut out the Dutch door. I enjoyed incorporating Dutch doors in my 2023 setup. They look very creative and are functional at the same time. I add rest of the days, leaving the entire right column for my weekly review. I then painted the tulips illustration on a watercolor paper. At this point, my iPhone storage got done and it stopped recording just when I started working on it. Sadly, I did not realize this until the end. I then peeled the tape off and cut them up vertically. You'll see why in a moment. I turned them around and added scotch tape on one side of it. I then flipped it back to the front and folded the tape on the back. Now I can simply stick this up on either sides of the spread, which will look something like this. You can flip this open to write down your tasks or review the week. The spaces for task list and review are absolute essentials, and I did not want to use it up for illustrations. So this is the best way to add some interest to your spread without having to compromise the functionality of it. That brings us to the end of the video, my friends, and it's finally time for the flip through. This is the first time I tried painting in my bullet journal and I absolutely loved the result. I love the theme, the color palette and all the spreads. Let me know which spread is your favorite of all. Thanks a lot for sticking around till the end. Check out 2023 setup, link to which is in the description box. Drop a like, share the video and subscribe to my channel if you found it interesting. I wish you all a very happy new year, guys. I'll see you soon in 2023. Bye everyone.